Welcome back. It's now been a little over a day that we've been able to see people's faces. Thank goodness. Pennsylvania lifted the mask requirement on Monday.
But here's the question. The masks are off, right? But is the anxiety over? Resiliency expert Dr. Deborah Gilboa joins us now with more on making that transition. And Dr. G, so we've heard that the pandemic has been really hard on people's mental health. You know, everybody has struggled. So what does that exactly mean? And what does that mean going forward now that the masks can be off?
There was a quote in the British Medical Journal in a large summary piece just last month saying that the mental health impact of the pandemic is expected to be even larger than the physical health impact of the pandemic, both nationally in each of the developed countries as well as globally. So we have to really think about how we recover in lots of different ways, but we have to keep checking in on ourselves, the people we work with, and the people that we care about.
Yeah, the hardest thing for me, Dr. G, is being out and seeing people you know and wanting to hug them, but mentally I'm still back where that wasn't acceptable and I don't know what to do.
And Mikey, I would say that you might want to consider that if you're also a little hesitant, so might they be. So it's useful to do what we would tell our kids to do, and that is ask for consent. Say, hey, I'm thinking about hugging you. How do you feel about that? Or are you hugging yet? As a way to acknowledge that not everybody's ready to dive into that. And I'll tell you medically, for fully vaccinated people, hugging is a great idea if it actually fills you up and doesn't add to your stress or your frustration and drain your resilience by making you feel more at risk.
Or even just like keeping the distance, right? I mean, like you're up to somebody like, wait, am I too close to you? So you have to think about these things like what is the appropriate distance as well. And like we do crave as humans that connection. And it's so challenging when you want to be close to somebody and be like, can I touch you? Can I not? And I can see where that would be really hard emotionally.
It absolutely is. This is something that was probably hard emotionally on some people always, but it's really heightened and spotlighted right now. So remember that when you're checking in with someone, also to find out how they're doing and also to see what's acceptable to them, that transparency is really useful. Just asking, saying, hey, I'm vaccinated and I would really love to give you a hug, or is it okay if I come a little closer? Those are really respectful, helpful things to ask anyone anyway. But especially right now, it's good to know, to really remember that a lot of what we've been through in the last months have drained our resilience, have made it harder for us to navigate change. You know, stress comes with every change, even change that we want, like an end to the pandemic. So remembering that every single change adds stress, causes us to need to find some resilience, helps us to have more empathy for other people. And empathy is one of the strategies that helps people navigate change more easily.
Yeah, and I mean, there's been a lot of tragedy that has come over, you know, from this pandemic over the last year. And I mean, some people have lost family members, some people have been sick themselves, people have lost jobs. Like, how do you check in on family members and friends to make sure that they're okay?
One of the things that you can do with adults is simply to say, because we don't want to pry, right? We don't want to be searching for gossip or seeming that we are or really nosy, but we also don't want to leave people alone who are at risk or need to know that someone cares. So one of the best ways to give empathy is just to say, hey, I care about you. So I care about what you're going through. Is there anything that you want to talk about, or is there any way I could be helpful to you? Another thing that really helps people to navigate change is to give them a little bit of processing time. So when, for example, if you're going to host something this summer and you'd like them to be there and it's going to be in person and it's not going to be masked, letting them know with longer so that they can think about it longer, have a longer time to make their decision, and ask you for whatever information they need, that will really help them too. But really, communication is the lifeline for anyone who is struggling with their mental health. And saying, I'm thinking about you and I'd like to know how you are if you feel comfortable telling me, that is a sign to people who are struggling that they are not alone.
I was just going to say communication is a huge part in this, and understanding it's not just about you and your struggles, but recognizing there are other people who are going through their own struggles too when it comes to something like this.
I heard something that really struck me recently, which is we've taken off our cloth covering face masks, but many people haven't taken off their masks, meaning they're still showing something that's different than what they feel on the inside. So asking is the only way you have a chance of finding out.
Being incredibly respectful.
And I just, and I'm always under the guise of just being nice to people that you meet in everyday passing, because you never know what people are going through.
You don't know what you don't know about what they're going through.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Dr. G. Always wise advice.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Have a great summer.
You too. Dr. Debbie Gilboa is a parenting expert, author, and a family physician, and a regular contributor here on PTL.
And that discussion is just one happening in living rooms all across our state and country. You may have seen Christine Sorensen's story on mental health in teenagers. It was part of a research project for Pitt's Graduate School of Public Health, and you can find a link to that if you like more. That's at kdka.com. Christine is also working on a story about kids and the COVID vaccine. She wants to know what local parents think about the vaccine for kids of all ages. Again, you can head to kdka.com/links. You can take our 1-minute survey there and then watch for the results right here on KDKA News.